Everything Fox built will fall, and from the ashes of their universe will build a better one. Yeah, I bet the Fox. No, I bet Kevin Feige said this when he was going to reboot the X Men into the MCU. Only difference is that he was not antagonizing Fox. I think that is the right thing to do in my opinion. I'll talk more about MCU X Men in the future, but let's just get this one over with. Hey guys, this is Frozen Things Stews here, and welcome back to another movie review. And today, I am going to be doing a review on X Men Apocalypse. So, X Men Apocalypse is the third installment in the prequel slash reboot X Men franchise, and it came out in the year 2016, the same year as films like Captain America Civil War and Deadpool and Doctor Strange and BVS and yeah, Suicide Squad. Yeah, those are big superhero movies. And as well as some other great films. Honestly, 2016 wasn't overhated. I found 2016 to be an overhated year for movies. I don't think it's nearly as bad as people say it is. And it's directed by Bryan Singer. This is the final X-Men film that he directs. And it stars James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, Oscar Isaac, Jennifer Lawrence, Nicholas Hoult, Rose Byrne, Ty Sheridan, Sophie Turner, Evan Peters, Cody Smith McPhee, Olivia Munn, Alexandra Shipp, Lucas Till, Josh Hellman, Ben Hardy, Lana Condor, etc. And so the film tells the story of the world's first mutant, the Apocalypse, or Ensambad Nur, who has re-emerged and he re-emerged from the dead, planning to well, not from the dead, I don't know what you call it, but he just re-emerged and he's planning to wipe out the entire mutant race, and he plans to do that by taking over the world. And so yeah, he targets he collects four horsemen. He pretty much gets mutants that he thinks has potential to side with him, and he pretty much turns him into the dark side. And so yeah, one of these horsemen is Magneto, who is still trying to struggle between being a hero and being a villain. In other words, he's still the same anti-hero that he was previously. And so meanwhile, yeah, the X-Men, well, yeah, there's a bunch of new X-Men characters introduced. Basically, the younger incarnations of iconic X-Men characters like Jean, Cyclops, and all those characters who are just students and are learning to control their powers. And so yeah, Apocalypse wants Charles because he knows that he can transform his mind. He can like transmit his mind to Charles or something like that. I don't know how you explain that one. And so when they find out about Apocalypse's existence and he kidnaps Charles, the X-Men must go after Charles, save him, and stop Apocalypse. But it's not going to be easy for them because Apocalypse is just too damn powerful. So yeah. Now, yeah, after the perfection that was X-Men Days of Future Past, it's no surprise that X-Men Apocalypse was a lot of people's was in a lot of people's most anticipated movies of 2016 list. It was hyped up by a lot of people, including myself. Yeah, mainly because of how good the Days of Future Past was. I was hyping up this movie to hell. This was actually one of my most anticipated movies of 2016, alongside Captain America Civil War, which was my most anticipated movie of the year. Batman vs Superman and Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Yeah, X-Men Apocalypse was certainly right up there with those films. And between the two Fox X-Men movies, I was actually more hyped for this one than Deadpool. Even though we can all agree that Deadpool is the better Fox X-Men movie in 2016, let's just start with that. But yes, I was very confident that X-Men Apocalypse would be well received. I was never expecting first Days of Future Past level, but I still had hope that this would be well received. And And I remember seeing this movie a little late in theaters, mainly because of my vacation to Disney World, Orlando, and the Disney cruise. I didn't have time to rewatch to watch this. This is like in the second or third week of showing in my country where no, I mean it was in its second or third week when I actually got to see this. I did not see this movie in its opening week, and although I do wish I saw this movie earlier because I apparently watched Angry Birds movie first, and Angry Birds movie sucks ass. Yeah, um, you'll be hearing a rant from me about on Angry Birds 2 one day, by the way. And yeah, and when I saw the reviews for this film, I was shocked to see that this movie was panned by critics. I was really shocked. I was like, so I did not expect this to get bad reviews at all. But I still went in excited for this film. And coming out, I actually really like this movie, and I said that I did not understand. I did not understand the hate for this film. And and yeah, a couple of years later, now in 2023, no 2024, 8 years later, I guess, yeah, 8 years later, I gotta say, this movie still holds up. I still defend this movie. I don't get the hate for this movie at all. Now when it comes to these X Men films, I don't really have a lot of hot takes. Now, yes, I do have hot takes with the X Men characters. One of them being like Jean Grey. Is Jean Grey being one of my favorite one of my favorite X Men characters. I'm not sure that's a hot take, but like, no. I'm gonna say Kitty Pryde. Yeah, Jean Grey. I'm still a Jean Grey fan. I don't think that's a hot take because Jean Grey is an iconic character, but Kitty Pryde is one of my favorite X Men characters. One of my top favorite X Men characters. So that's a hot take. I mean, does saying Lara from Logan being the best X Men character in general count as a hot take? I don't know. Maybe guess because she's in the same movie as Wolverine, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, everyone's favorite X Men character, and yet I prefer Lara, so that's something. But when it comes to the X Men movies, I don't have a lot of hot takes. A lot of my takes on these films that seem to be very popular, but X Men Apocalypse, my review of this film is going to be the one controversial review of my X Men franchise because I really like this movie. In fact, I think it's great, and this movie just grows in me the more I look back at it. It's really hard to not like this one. This is the most underrated X Men movie, straight up. People are being way too harsh in this film, and some even going as far as calling this the one X Men film that killed the X Men franchise. And and when it comes to Dark Phoenix just being a failure, people would just be like, oh, the reason why Dark Phoenix sucked is because Apocalypse killed the X Men franchise. So the Dark Phoenix already did a rival because Apocalypse sucked. I mean, I'm sorry, that is too far. Like just stop pretending to like claiming that Dark Phoenix is only bad because you hated Apocalypse. I mean, yes, don't get me wrong. I do think Dark Phoenix sucked, and I think everyone knows that I hate Dark Phoenix. But blaming Apocalypse for that is stupid. Yeah, but yeah, I beg to differ. This did not, yeah, emphasis on did not kill the X Men franchise. Dark Phoenix is the true franchise killer. Now, don't get me wrong. This is no masterpiece by any means, and it's certainly ain't first class at Days of Future Past. And like what I said, Deadpool is the better X Men movie in 2016. I think we can all agree on that. But you can clearly tell this movie's intention wasn't to try and replicate the levels of its predecessors, but rather just give audiences a good time. And that's what this movie is. It's fun. It's not trying to be deep or intellectual like Days of Future Past was. It's not trying to be sharp like both the Days of Future Past and First Class. It's not trying to have sharp writing and sharp character development. But the character development in this film was kind of sharp, but I'll get to that later. It just wants to be a fun, crowd-pleasing X-Men movie, and that's what it accomplishes. It's more of a crowd pleaser. It's more of a fun crowd pleaser instead of a well, to be fair, First Class is also fun, and so for Days of Future Past. But this one is just fun, I guess. And yeah, I am not afraid to admit it. I had such a blast watching this film. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I mean, one of the criticisms I had with X Men Apocalypse before was that the build up to Apocalypse's reign was a little too slow. The X Men doesn't discover or even hear about Apocalypse until like 1 hour into the movie, and the movie just spends time. Like the first 1 hour just mostly spends time with Apocalypse recruiting mutants to join his side. The four horsemen, and while there's like this whole coming of age story of the young X Men trying to control their powers, and Jean, especially with Jean Grey's character. But thankfully, it kind of was more engaging this time, and it's not boring because I tend to realize that the highlight of this film is not Apocalypse to me. To me, the highlight of the film was the chemistry between the team, which is what makes it like X Men in general. If the team doesn't show good chemistry, then that makes for a weak X Men movie overall. Because when your characters have weak chemistry, then the movie becomes hard to watch. But when the team is like really strong, like you really feel the chemistry, then it's easier to just follow these characters because you just like these characters. And I said this many times and I'll say it again. Characters are the most important aspect of film, and it's not the plot but the characters, because you can't have a plot without characters, and you can still have characters and not have a plot, and you can still make a movie good. That's how movies work. I wish more people would understand that. I'm sick of people just judging every movie by the plot now. It's just instead of just looking at other aspects. That's just annoying nowadays. Yeah, and thanks to the events of Days of Future Past, like what I said, this has become a reboot rather than a prequel now, and I like how they embrace that it's a reboot, because it's not trying to set up the original. It's not trying to set up the original X-Men, but it tries to be its own thing. We don't need to see any connections with the other X-Men films. Heck, you don't even need to see Days of Future Past to watch this. However, First Class is important though, because there are a lot of flashbacks to First Class, and some of the character developments to to pretty much develop. So if you guys see X-Men for the first time and you're trying to wonder how to watch in order to connect the stories and understand the sequels, well, I'd say both First Class and Apocalypse are like connected. And you don't have to watch Days of Future Past to understand this movie, but you still have to watch Days of Future Past because of just how perfect and brilliant it is. And I gotta say, with the new iterations of Jean, Cyclops, Nightcrawler, Angel, etc., I like this new iteration of the characters better than the originals. Like, I prefer Ty Sheridan Cyclops over James Marsden. I still defend James Marsden Cyclops, and I also defend Ty Sheridan Cyclops too, because people still hate on Cyclops, like what they do in the X-Men films, and it's kind of annoying that people are just biased against this character at this point because, oh, he's nothing like the comics. Like, I'm sorry, just stop complaining about movies that being like inaccurate. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a movie just trying to make it based on the comics but not rip off the comics, Not all comic book movies need to do that. And I like Ty Sheridan for his charisma, his charm, and you really feel bad for him a lot of times because, one, he was being bullied in his former school because of his eye pain, and the fact that he actually, his powers came out in school and literally damaged him. Wow, that is messed up. And two, his brother, Alex Summers, was killed off in that explosion scene, which I'll talk about later in this review. So that's something. Nightcrawler was also buried here than the original, as he was a little more memorable, and I feel like he was able to contribute more. Now I will say though, there was not a single Nightcrawler scene that matches that is nearly on the same level as the opening White House action scene in X2. But I mean, what can Nightcrawler even do better? I don't see any possibilities. Yeah, I mean, but I as a character on his own, I like this Nightcrawler better because he just has more charm. I like how he's much more involved with the plot than X2 and X-Men the last time. And yeah, I like that. The returning characters were also I also like them a lot. You know, Charles, Magneto, Raven, Beast, Quicksilver, Moira, etc. I mean, yes, I did notice that Magneto's arc was very similar to the previous two films. I understand that. I think his Magneto's writing in this one was well executed because there was a valid reason as to why they used that similar arc to him. You know, the arc of just, oh, I'm a bad guy, oh, I'm a villain because I lost what I love, and so I'm gonna attack them. But then there will be a speech about there, and then a character will make a speech, you know, telling Magneto like, "Oh, make your decision. You should make the right decision. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't try to kill people." Yeah, he thought now, but yeah, here's my defense on Magneto. Here's why I think my rehashing Magneto's past arc works in this one. He thought that what he was able to live, he thought that he was able to live a personal life with a changed identity. Plus, he had his own wife and daughter now. Now that he lives in a house that's very far away from him, far away from him, and far away from the world. So, and he pretty much goes into hiding, so that he can make sure that nobody finds him, and that he can just live a simple and peaceful life. That's all Magneto wants, peace. And it was actually Charles who advised Magneto to pretty much find peace and just live a private life. But then the military finds Magneto, and and we're able to recognize him as the guy who caused destruction in San Francisco and ruined the Sentinel event in the events of Days of Future Past. But then yeah, I mean, but then just because of a brief accident with like one of the soldiers getting distracted when they were pointing it when he pointed his arrow at the family, he accidentally kills Magneto's mother and daughter. So yeah, with a rageful vengeance, he goes on because he decides that this life isn't working for Magneto because humans will always hunt him down. He realizes that, so he thinks that it's the better way for him to kill humans. But then the X-Men still know that there's better Magneto, and he yeah, I mean, they always tell Magneto not to let his pain get the best of him, but Magneto hates humans, so yeah, he pretty much causes vengeance, and yeah, and at the end Magneto has a change of heart. Yeah, that actually works for him because I mean, this is a big case scenario that where like you really needed to do this arc because I mean it's really impacts the fact that his wife and daughter were killed. And seeing Magneto's wife and daughter, die, being killed off, that is the most sadistic and darkest scene in X-Men. Yeah, I actually think that this might be besides any scene in the New Mutants, this might be the darkest and most haunting scene in the in the X-Men franchise. Yeah, I teared up. I didn't really cry, but I teared up just seeing Magneto just broken once again after all the 10 years he's lived with his wife and daughter, and it's so devastating to see them die. That is just that is wow. That is, I don't know how to say it, like I'm lost for words now. And yeah, I always like Magneto's arc, and this is why I love Michael Fassbender's Magneto. I think he might be my favorite male character in the X-Men prequel / reboot series, and he is far superior to Ian McKellen. Now, Charles may not have as much of a deep character arc like in Days of Future Past. It's not as deep as Magneto, but at the very least, he's interesting, and I love how this is the movie where we actually get to see how Charles became bald. No, it's not trying to set up the original X-Men. Again, it's not a prequel, it's its own thing, but at least the movie was able to explain why Charles is bald, and it's all because of Apocalypse. His magic trick on Charles, and that's good. And yeah, James McAvoy does give out a good performance, I will say. I mean, one of the things that people criticize the most about Apocalypse is pretty much Jennifer Lawrence's performance, and honestly, I don't get the hate for her performance. She was actually good in this, but I feel like it's because people just hate Jennifer Lawrence in general. Yeah, people just this. I mean, back in 2014, people still like Jennifer Lawrence, but now this became an era where Jennifer Lawrence would just get hate on no matter what she does, and everybody starts to like slowly hate her and hate her more. But I guess people were just biased against it. Yeah, biased against her. Quicksilver is damn awesome, especially in the scene where he saves everyone from that school of in the school from the explosions. Yeah, remember the sweet dreams are made of this. Who am I to disappear? Yeah, that song. Yeah, I love it. Like, I mean, if Magneto no wait, if Quicksilver like saving the kitchen is good enough, like running around the kitchen just doing funny shenanigans in Days of Future Past good enough, I'd say that Quicksilver saving the school is good enough. It's not good enough, but even better. Yeah, I like the kitchen scene, but I think the mansion scene is better. Here's why. No, in Days of Future Past, the kitchen scene, it was just a bunch of guards like about to shoot Charles and Magneto, and and the bullets were still very far away when Quicksilver is just saving two people. Oh well, technically three. He's just trying to stop a bunch of police from shooting, and he was able to dodge the bullet so easily. But when it comes to Quicksilver saving all the students from the explosion, this is a big risk to take because they don't know about the explosion. No one is aware. No one seems to be paying attention. So Quicksilver is like literally the only one who can do it. Like the explosion is going on so fast, and even though Quicksilver is like clearly just saving everyone, you actually feel worried for it because you actually feel worried for it because the explosion is just as fast as Quicksilver. So Quicksilver must work twice as hard. So you get worried for everyone. Yeah, and that was amazing. And Sweet Dreams Are Made of This is starting to become one of my favorite songs. I love it. Well, not the Charles Van Together version, obviously. Ew. And yeah, and that scene just left me smiling throughout. It's not even my favorite scene in the film, and yeah, and there's so many great scenes in this film. I'd say it's like my second or third scene. I'm very glad to see Moira back. Although she is a downgrade from first class. She's just not really as attractive as she is in first class. But no, I'm not criticizing her for not being attractive. But I mean, either way, she's still a downgrade. But I like her. I guess I like that she got to fly. I like that she got to fly the vessel that they used to go into battle. I like that. But the MVP of the film has to be Jean Grey. You all know how much I love her in the comics, and I gotta say, this is the Jean Grey I want. This is like how the character should be done. Sure, she was awesome in X2, but this one featured the Jean Grey I wanted to see. Sophie Turner is a better Jean than Famke Janssen in both looks, character-wise, and pretty much everything. There's a lot to love about her ever since she was first introduced, but that one scene where she unleashed her Phoenix powers to defeat Apocalypse, that's my favorite scene in the film. And it's one of my absolute favorite X-Men scenes. It's actually close to being the best X-Men scene, but just certain scenes from Logan edge it out. Yeah, that scene with Charles saying, "Unleash your power, Jean. Let go, Jean," and then Jean just lets go, becomes a Phoenix, and then just crushes Apocalypse to the core. That scene just made me want to get up and cheer and like, woo! Yeah, that is and that scene just gave me absolute goosebumps. Jean from this film in particular might just be my X-Men crush tied with Kitty Pryde. Jean Grey looks gorgeous in this film. Although I don't really have a crush on Jean from Dark Phoenix. Just this Jean, just this version of Jean in Apocalypse. This is the best use of Jean. Period. No competition. And speaking of Apocalypse, I know people hate him. Like a lot of people even go as far as calling him the worst X-Men villain. But I gotta say, he's a solid villain, and I think he's very overhated. Sure, he doesn't have the strongest motivation, but I felt very intimidated by him. Just with him controlling minds and pretty much making an attempt to end the world. I do think he has room for improvement. Like I will say, the X Men should have discovered him earlier on the film. Maybe even meet him early on the film. Don't just wait an hour. That could have made the conflict better. But still good conflict. This has some of the franchise's best action scene period, especially the final battle with the X Men versus Apocalypse and his four horsemen, and then it becomes everyone, all the mutants versus Apocalypse. And the final battle is massive in scale because of it. It felt like an Avengers level threat, especially with both the destruction of the world and the fight. Apocalypse feels like a huge challenge as nobody could even defeat him, even if they tried so hard. Apocalypse was just massive. Even Quicksilver couldn't even match Apocalypse because Apocalypse still took him down despite Quicksilver was still trying to run. Jean was literally the only one who could defeat him. Jean is by far and away the most powerful Marvel character, MC or not, and that should be a fact. You can kiss my ass, Captain Marvel. I also love that Wolverine cameo scene where he fought off the security guards so brutally. I mean, there's like 20% visible blood in that, and I still remember getting goosebumps in the theater seeing Wolverine fight and kick ass in this film. I also love the scene where Charles went inside Apocalypse's mind and so much illusions was created, and they're so creative. It kind of reminded me of mysterious illusions in Far From Home. I love how this movie isn't afraid to show a bit of gore regardless of it being PG-13. Like that illusion scene where like Apocalypse was crushing Charles, and we see like Charles's face is full of blood. And also I just mentioned like Wolverine just brutally killing people, and we can partially see the blood, like pretty much the blood splatter out of people, like and splattering the walls, but not quite on the person because that would be a little too much. And yeah, just a few seconds ago, I did mention the flaw where the X-Men should have met or at least discovered Apocalypse earlier in the film. And yeah, I don't think this film is perfect. I do think there are some flaws I had with the film. Yeah, so now let's get into some criticisms I had. I hate the idea of making Magneto Quicksilver's father and Quicksilver being Magneto's son. Didn't Quicksilver already have a father who was shown in Days of Future Past? Did you forget about that, Fox? Did you just suddenly forget about what happened? Did you suddenly just forget about some minor details in Days of Future Past that are important in this film, and then you just suddenly wanted to throw things into this? I don't even see the possibility of Quicksilver and Magneto being biologically related, especially when Quicksilver is American while Magneto is German. Plus, the trailer, I mean, yeah, they did show Quicksilver saying Magneto's his father in one of the trailers, but I thought it was only going to be played as a joke. Like, they should have just kept the idea of just Quicksilver saying Magneto's his father as a joke. Like it could have been a decent joke, but no, it had to be serious for some reason. Like, wow. And also, I don't like how they handled Storm in this. Did Fox just forget how iconic she was? She should have joined the X-Men side to begin with. Like, she should have been shown in the school from the very beginning, not be introduced as one of Apocalypse's four horsemen. I also don't like how Jubilee was wasted, completely flat out wasted in this. And this becomes an even bigger deal after seeing X-Men 97 because Jubilee was one of my favorite characters in that show, yeah. And Lana Condor was such a great choice to play Jubilee, and a perfect choice. And she's a talented actress. She's a pretty underrated actress. So it's kind of a shame to see her just wasted. But that's all the flaws I got. So overall, X-Men Apocalypse is a guilty pleasure of mine, and I'd say this is the Amazing Spider-Man 2 of X-Men. It's flawed and nowhere near the same level as the previous two films, plus X2 and Deadpool and a few other X-Men films I love. But it's not going for the best. It's not striving. It's not trying too hard to be the best X-Men movie. It's a harmless, fun film that has a great. That it's just simply a great crowd pleaser. It has a lot of charm to it, especially with the newly introduced characters, and it combines that with a dark tone, and I like it. I'll say it once and I'll say it again. This movie did not ruin X-Men. I mean, the fact that the weakest film in this trilogy is still awesome, while the original X-Men trilogy was a dud that ended off on a dud, just goes to show how much I prefer this trilogy over the original one. So with that said, I'm going to give X-Men Apocalypse 4 stars out of 5. Great film. So also for my review of X-Men Apocalypse, what are your thoughts on this film? Do you agree with me that this movie is underrated, or do you agree with the haters that this movie was a letdown and one of the weakest X-Men movies? Comment down below, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And yes, you all know my next X-Men review is that Dark Phoenix rant. I'll get to that, but first, my Moana 2 trailer review will come first. Yeah, so that's my true next video. So yeah, bye guys.